Hey, everybody, it's Tim Gillette with the Tim Gillette Show, and I'm back with another great interview. It's a new week, and we are going to make 100 interviews in 30 days. I'm working real hard to make this happen, all right? You know what I mean? You've got to have a goal, and you've got to work towards it, even if you don't see the results making it there. But anyway, you reach out to people, and you schedule them, and today, actually, we went from 4 to 6. There's a possibility of a 7th one popping in yet today. People still trying to book in today. But here's the deal, guys, is I've interviewed some of the coolest people, people I've known, people I've actually had on my shows before, and a lot of people who I don't know. This person I really do know. All right. And let's face it, I'm sure some stories may have heard about the two of us and the friendship we have. All right. Her boyfriend doesn't like some of the stories, but I tell him anyway. They're both. Her and her boyfriend, Andy, are both very, very close friends of mine. And I love it every time I get to spend time with either of them. When either of them is in Dallas, we spend time together. We've gone on boating. We've done all kinds of fun things. All right. And we're both in the business of helping people. So Gina St. George is my guest today. And I am just so excited to have her on that I'm sure I'm going to get to make fun of her. Anyway, we're going to have fun. Let's bring her on. Hi, Gina.
Hey, Tim. It's really fun to be here with you. I've been looking forward to this ever since I scheduled it.
Yeah. It's like, a whole process down. And every day I'm learning how I've got to perfect the process, which I'm sure you help your clients with.
I do. That's my thing, the whole process and anticipating problems and solving them in advance.
Yeah. And today I've had like 4 or 5 problems. This weekend I had 3 or 4 things go wrong with my process, and I'm like, okay, so I got it right down. I wrote all the notes down. And I'm like you. I'm over analytic on making it perfect, but it's never perfect. Have you ever noticed that?
You can't beat yourself up about things that aren't perfect. Sometimes you just need to do stuff, and then you learn, and then you say, okay, how do I prevent that from happening again? And then that becomes part of your process. And then you do it a little bit better the next time. And then something else goes wrong. And then you learn. And then you and then you decide how to prevent that. And you make that part of your process. So, it's funny because so much of there are a lot of things you can design ahead of time where you think through, like, what are all the things, what is the flow of everything that's going to happen? But and you can handle a lot of things by designing your flow and designing your process ahead of time, but you cannot know how well it works until you actually do it. So sometimes you just have to do stuff and then you fix it and tweak it as you go.
Yep. So anyway, I gotta ask. All right, first we're gonna get into some of the business stuff you're doing and stuff, but I gotta ask, which house are you guys quarantined to?
We're in Florida. Thankfully, because I wouldn't want to be in Michigan right now. Although I love my house in Michigan, and if I couldn't go out, that's a cool place to be. But we're in Florida, and that's where we're stuck. So the weather's nice. It's getting a little hot, but it's okay. We have air conditioning.
You guys, I was wondering which house, because I've only seen 1 or 2 pictures of the farm that you guys have up in Michigan, but I'm like, that'd be the ideal. If you didn't have to do business, that'd be the ideal spot to be right now.
It is. My property there, when I take pictures around my property of like the wildlife and whatnot, you know how Google will categorize your photos on your phone? Mm-hmm. It will categorize those as park because that's kind of the environment we have. It's a heavily wooded property and it's really cool and we love it.
Yeah. So, but now I met you and Andy, in Florida.
Yep.
Oh, no, actually we met for the first time at Craig's event, Craig's Masterminds. But like I've been down to your house in Florida. You haven't been to my house, but you've been to my town here. But anyway,
yeah.
In Florida, though, all right, we did some fun things while I was there. I mean, it's like, you guys have the whole world set up to enjoy life no matter where you're at.
We enjoy a lot of cool things, and we enjoy the best of both worlds in a lot of ways. And the setup that we've had here is really nice for the winter. Mm-hmm. And when it's cold and snowing in other places. And then we have a different setup for when the weather is nice and we have a pleasant summer up north.
Yeah. So, Gina, let's talk about what you're doing now in business, because you've changed plans quite a bit over the last few years. And I think you found something that's really rocking for you, I've noticed. So what are you guys up to now?
Well, we still have a brick and mortar business. And right now that has kind of taken up a lot of my attention because we have been disrupted. And so we do litigation support work. And the courthouses are closed, and so it's kind of a problem for someone who is in that business. We are considered an essential business because we support the judicial system, but our orders are a trickle now. So it's a really disturbing time, and so that's taking a lot of my attention. We're working on some things that will help us on the other side of this. So I'm actually working harder and more than I ever have during this time of business disruption, because this is an opportunity to be better when this is over. So I'm taking that as a blessing, even though it is a time of stress. But the other thing that I've done over the years, and I'm a business process specialist, that's kind of my background. I did that in a corporate environment for many years. And 11 years ago, I left the corporate world, burned out on it. I joined 2 small businesses, realized that small business owners are even more stressed than corporate employees. And so I became my first client. And so I redesigned all the processes, and I made it so that that business could operate without my continuous involvement in daily operations. And so I haven't been involved in daily operations in quite a few years now. And we had a second business that we sold to a multinational company. That was a really great thing. And so now I help small business owners systemize their business so that they can have a growing, thriving business while also having a life. The new thing that I discovered was that in the coach, author, consultant space, that what process meant was that they didn't know how to take their content and make digital courses and build funnels to then sell them. And because marketing is also a process and putting together content is a process, I built a process for that. And that's been my new thing that I've offered to that market. And I've been doing that. And that's been really cool because I've gotten to learn about a lot of different people's expertise as I've coached people through that work.
So, when you were coming out of corporate world and going into, working with the small business and connecting with people there, what was the pivot then in your life that made you like the trigger to go, okay, I'm sick of corporate. I want to go to small business, because sometimes it's always like that, oh crap moment. Do you have one in there?
I most certainly do. In 2001, my husband at the time and I were ready to start our family, and we scheduled a trip to Italy. And we joked that if we were to conceive a child on that trip, that we would name him after a Renaissance artist. But that the day that we left was 9/11. And so not only did we not get to Italy, everything changed. And so not only did I not downscale what I was doing at the time, I had to dig into getting an even better job because my husband was an airline pilot and he lost his job after 9/11. So I've never been I joke that I'm a recovering workaholic. The reality is I was never a workaholic. Sometimes people work a lot because they simply just have to. And that was where I was because I had to hold down the fort for the both of us. Well, in 2006, he got recalled to his job. And I thought, wow, we made it through this really tough time. This has really sucked. It's been really hard on our relationship, but now we can repair the damage and pick up, from here. And what happened instead is that he said he was through. So after all that, I ended up with my relationship completely destroyed. And when I first moved out of our house, I let him keep the house and just about everything in it. I moved to a condo. I traveled a lot, so I wanted to downsize and simplify my life. And the first night that I was there, I had no furniture yet. And so I got Subway on my way home from work, and I'm sitting on the floor of my condo with no furniture, unwrapping my dinner, eating on the floor, and thinking, wow, I'm like highly esteemed by my colleagues, and I'm so accomplished. And I'm the only woman in the building with a door and mahogany furniture, but this is what my life looks like. And I was actually not alone. I had 3 cats. And I thought, my God, how did I get here? 2 months ago, I was married with 3 cats. And when you're married and you have 3 cats, you just have 3 pets. But when you're single and have 3 cats, you're weird. And so that was kind of my turning point where I said, something's got to change in my life, because, life is going to pass me by if I don't figure out how to have some balance and do something where I can actually have more control in my life.
But have you ever been worried about being labeled as the crazy cat lady?
I am not a crazy cat lady. I do love cats. I do. And anyone who knows me knows that I do love cats. I actually have 4 cats now. And I foster bottle feeding kittens. I foster orphans who are not weaned, and I bottle feed them. So yes, I'm a cat lover, but that doesn't make me a crazy cat lady. It just means that I love animals, and I want to help them. And it's cool to be able to do that, because, when you're an entrepreneur and you don't have a regular job to go to, you can work with kittens and feed them every 3 hours. It's cool. Does that make me crazy?
No, not at all. I know you're a little too personal, and I don't want to reveal too many personal things I know about your glitches. So that's the fun part about, if having you or Andy on my show, we know each other too well. But anyway, so, over the years, Gina, you've taken on a lot of projects. All right. I don't know whether those projects were discovering where you belonged or because you're an achiever, you're a high achiever. Were they always trying to I want to find a fit, or I want to find an audience? Which path was it at that time, or what?
I remember one of my terrible false starts. I've had lots of false starts. And when you talk about success, you also have to talk about failure. And I don't want to really so much talk about it as failure as really just a false start and something that I tried that really didn't work like I thought it would. But I always knew that I was good at business, because I was good at business process. Andy is good at business. And so we decided together we said, well, we could help small business owners design and grow their business. And we were more looking for the brick and mortar space. And we also enjoy doing things outdoors, hence our acreage property that's heavily wooded. And so we said, well, how can we package this so it seems different from what everybody else is doing? And so we said, we'll be the business adventure guides. And then we bought all this outdoor clothing, like we were going to go hiking. And we actually showed up at one of Craig's boot camps dressed that way. And I hated it. It felt so wrong. I mean, me now. And that's not I kind of I wear dresses and boots, and I have long hair, and I do like being outdoors, but that really, as a brand for me, just it was awful. It was awful. And we tried it, and we couldn't go anywhere with it because it just felt so bad.
Yeah.
Craig talks about the same thing when he wore a suit. He's like, oh God, just wearing a suit felt so bad.
Yeah, and you know what I mean? It's interesting. I mean, I like how you labeled them, all right, a false start, all right, and lilies. But if you didn't try it, you probably wouldn't know it would work. I mean, so many of us get ideas, but most people will never act on those ideas. You and Andy have acted on a lot of ideas to find out that they were false starts. Yeah, I mean, and that's, there's business people who are listening to the show going, well, but I'm trying to perfect it. Tell them what they should do, Gina.
Just do something, because you can't learn what works and what doesn't work until you actually do it. And you'll make some mistakes, and the process will improve. I think it's great to design things with your intent in mind, because if you just start doing things with no plan, that isn't good either. But you can't plan to the nth degree and like never do anything, because sometimes you just need to do stuff and go, I'm not going to do that, or I like that and I'm going to change it in these ways.
Yeah, I mean,
we opened this segment by talking about that. Sometimes you do things and some things don't work, and so you learn and you make some changes to your process, and then you try again and you learn some more.
Yeah. That's my life for past 10 years, trying to be in business, is that exact process. And, I just know, I mean, you guys, you and Andy are both like me. I'll go out there and try something, and if it doesn't stick, I either rack it up to experience, or I go, okay, let me tweak it and fix it, and you guys have been famous for doing that, but you also did it with a lot more brick and mortar businesses.
We've kind of lived in both worlds simultaneously. Where so it's funny, because some people who know me in the digital world, as I've been posting things about PPP, I think they don't understand, like, why are you talking about it? Oh, no, I actually have a brick and mortar business with employees and stuff. So I do live in both worlds.
So I want to, kind of tap into, before I go there, I want to tap into like how many mentors have you had over the years? All right. And do you have like a key way back mentor that said something to you that has been a driver for you for life?
Oh, wow. I've had so many mentors. And what's funny is that there are some that I wasn't ready for at the time, but you remember things that they say, and then you get further down your path, and then you remember what they said, and they're like, oh, I learned that way back then, but I wasn't ready for it. So, I started a long time ago. When I first started in this world, I went to Author 101 with Rick Frischman. That was where I first began. And I learned how to write a book, and I did. And then it was through Author 101 that I first discovered Brendan Burchard, and I attended an event with him when he had only 100 people in the room. Wow. Yeah, I knew him then. And, way back then, way back then. Yeah. And he was talking about being an expert and selling your expertise back then, and I didn't create a digital course back then because I guess I wasn't ready, and I didn't understand how to pull that expertise out of myself. And then I met James Malinchak, and I learned about speaking. And then I met Craig Duswalt.
Oh, you got to watch it. I mean, he owes me too much money for being mentioned on my show already.
Well, Craig Duswalt is why I met you.
Yeah, I know.
So you know what? I'm happy to have met Craig, because actually I've met a lot of cool people by knowing Craig. Yeah. But then I've meandered around. Like I have done everybody's stuff. So the program that I did most recently that I thought was most useful is a program with Bo Eason, where he teaches you about being, storytelling and connecting with people, which for me was a major missing piece because I'm very nuts and bolts. And so this whole connecting with people and emotion stuff, that doesn't come as easily to me. So he's been a really great mentor, and he's actually a super deep person, like super deep. And he gives you reading assignments, and I've read a lot of cool stuff where he talks about committing to your goals and never giving up, and committing to being the best at what you can possibly be. So if I would pick one person, and I left out a lot of people in my list of people that have been mentors. If I could pick one person, I think he's been the best in the recent years, because of all of the just committing to your path, committing to your goals. Maybe you have some bumps in the road, but you never take your eye off the ultimate prize. And then you commit to just being the best at what you do.
I do like that about Bo. I mean, it is, and he's someone that I actually want to go through his stuff, because I feel like a lot of what he teaches I've got down, but I still want to learn more. All right. Which brings me back to something, how you and I met. I've always been the person who, just because I'm doing something doesn't mean I don't study it more. Let's talk about that first time we ever met.
That was, you tell that story, and you've come so far in building a business around blogging that I think that it makes the story even funnier because of who you are today. And even back then, it was kind of funny. So I had done a lot of blogging for our shredding company. That was one of the brick and mortar businesses that we had. And I'd done a lot of blogging for actually both of our brick and mortar companies. And we did that for SEO, because when you create content, it makes it easier for people to naturally find you, and it actually makes your paid ads more effective as well. Yeah. And so we had done a lot of that, and it had done a lot of really good for our business. And so Craig asked us to be rock star coaches. And that was when he had first expanded the mastermind and made it a bigger program. And so he had people he had designated to be coaches, and he asked me to coach about blogging, and Andy was coaching about video, because we were doing both for SEO and for content creation. So we were doing this back then. And so I remember, sitting at my table. There was round tables, and people could come sit at the table, and I'm talking to the different people about their level of experience. Like, have you even started blogging? What do you have set up? And then there's Tim, and he says, well, I've been blogging for, I forget how many years you said you'd already been.
I think it was like 3 or 4 years at that point.
Yeah, and then you told me how many blog entries you'd already created, and I was like, I don't know what I can teach you. You are already doing really well. And so I actually stopped and said, maybe you should go over to that table and learn about video, because I thought, well, if you're not doing video, that's the next content creation thing that's really good for lead generation. So maybe you should just go over there. And you actually insisted on staying at my table and listening to what I was teaching about blogging.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, your approach to blogging was different from mine, because I blogged for the purpose, just 100% for the purpose of SEO, because we had a list of keywords that we pulled from, and we created content around those keywords. Whereas you did a lot of just thoughtful writing. And
I
think you do both now.
Yeah, I kind of do both now, but I mean, really, it was at that point in time, it was really listening to others. You know what I mean? I have bought, I think when it comes to blogging, I've bought, I don't know, hundreds of courses. If somebody's offering a $197 thing on a blogging course, I always get it. And I never, at that time when we met, I was not looking to teach blogging. I was just trying to perfect my craft. It wasn't until Craig came out and said, it was one of Craig's things where he started asking me to be a table leader. And he says, what do you want to talk about? I says, well, what am I doing? And he says, how about blogging?
Blogging?
At the time I'm thinking, but Gina teaches that there. I don't want to be, and it changed my world. But I mean, the same thing with video. I mean, both you and Andy been very influential on my tactics to what I do. But now you're in another realm that I don't know. All right. So it's like you have become the leader on a lot of things, and there are people who are following you, and some of them are beginner level, some of them are mid-level, some of them are experts. How do you change your teaching based on the level they are, or do you just teach and the people who come are going to learn it at whatever level they're at?
Well, when it comes to being an expert, there's actually 3 kinds of experts. There is the achiever. I've done this, and now I'm going to teach you what I did. There is the coach, which is, I know how to do this for other people. and I've helped other people do it, do what I'm talking about, and I can do it for you too.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is the reporter, and a reporter is an expert who hasn't helped other people accomplish anything, and they haven't actually done it for themselves, but they can study other people and report what other people have done.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can be an expert at any level. And so that if you have a passion about a certain topic, but you're not an achiever on that topic, and you haven't helped anybody else already on that topic, then you can be an expert as a reporter. And there's no reason why you can't create content.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So no matter who you are and how much you know, you can begin.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I've always, I've always, been the, I've done this. This is what you should do, type person to help people. All right. And experts. So it's like you've worked with like all three types of those over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And now your programs out there are, you're helping people with info products and stuff now, right? What is it which level are you at in there right now?
I would say that I am a cross between an achiever and a coach, because I've helped others do it many times. Mm-hmm. And I myself am also doing it. And like you, mm-hmm. I am continuously learning. Yeah. So I continue to, when I see people's ads and they talk about funnel building or copywriting or, sales videos or anything like that, I buy it. And so I'm continuously learning. So I continue to grow my own skill as an achiever. And then I continue working with others as a coach.
Mm-hmm. And right now, I mean, well, are you doing this separate from Andy? Or are you guys doing this together right now again?
This is something I'm mostly doing separate from Andy, because Andy is focusing on some new product offerings that we're doing with our litigation support business, okay. Some digital products specifically for lawyers. And so he's taking the lead on those things. And so we decided to divide and conquer. So instead of both of us working on both things, I'm taking the lead on one thing and he's taking the lead on the other. Cool.
So we've got quite a few questions and comments coming in through the chat board here. And I want to kind of go through and address some of them. Let's see what we got here. First of all, I mean, there's people like Terry who's just saying hi to us.
Hi.
My good buddy Nazim over in Italy. Terry likes Andy, not you. Anyway. My friend Stacy. Hey. Everybody's chiming in, but there was a question in here, and I'm trying to find it because a lot of things came in, and I went, okay, I'm thankful for my cats. All right. All right. Okay. Question. Advice for these trying times. What advice would you give to those people who are going through, they're now sitting at home and thinking about, well, maybe I need to get into online marketing. What advice would you give them at this point in time in what's going on in the world?
I think that you need to capitalize on this disruption and this time when you can't do most of the normal things that you do, mm-hmm. and dig in and begin working on that. Mm-hmm. And so, I've created some specials for this time, mm-hmm. Where people can work on their courses and work on their funnels if they already have courses. Mm-hmm. And get their stuff out there, because all of this stuff takes work. It takes time to design all the components that go into your funnel and to configure whatever software you're using. And so this is a great opportunity to do that instead of watching 4 movies a day. Yeah. Yeah. And you know what I mean? In this point in time, all right, there's, in learning and actually going out and doing, let's tie it back into what we used to talk about, keywords. Right now, it seems like everybody's trying to get caught up on the keyword coronavirus. What's your advice as using that as a keyword for your content right now? I would use a long tail keyword, not mm-hmm. coronavirus by itself, because mm-hmm. coronavirus by itself is probably going to take you to more healthcare related mm-hmm. content. So unless you're in the healthcare business and you want to give healthcare advice, I would look more at long tail keywords like coronavirus business opportunity, or what should I do with my business during the coronavirus? I mean, depending on what it is that you do. For you, I would say launch your blog during the coronavirus quarantine. It would be things like that, where somebody who's looking for both things will find that under that heading.
Yeah. And the reason I asked that, Gina, is, I think it's a short-term keyword. In other words,
Of course.
the content you create with it is going to be irrelevant in 2022. Correct? Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be irrelevant in just a few months.
Hopefully too, but I'm looking like every blog I've created, I didn't want it to be relevant for just that moment in time. I wanted it to be relevant for those who are going to find me 3 years later. Yes. And that's where I was asking at it from that angle, because, again, you've created content from the keyword strategy, whereas, I've done it from the story strategy.
Well, so one of the things that I do in my content creating strategies, I have a theme for every day of the week. And so I post content Monday through Saturday, and I rest on Sunday. But each day, Monday through Saturday, is a theme. And they're generally different business related themes. Although on Thursdays we're thankful, so that's like a personal development thing. Saturday is Supercharged Saturday for looking at yourself and reinvigorating yourself, or looking at personal development. So now what I'm looking at in terms of content is more around dealing with uncertainty, dealing with failure, never giving up, that kind of stuff. So I feel like I needed to depart from my routine and get current with that. Now I'll probably return to my previous themes when this is over. But right now, in order to stay up with what's current, I'm talking more about those things. I'm not talking about so much about coronavirus, more about the psychological issues around that, like people feeling like, my God, this is futile and my business is going to fail. Pivoting and things like that.
So yeah, I did, I think, one video about like my predictions on the coronavirus, and I had it go around related, but like I did not want to go into using that as my keywords to get people to watch my content. Right. Because again, I don't want to have to recreate that content that could be relevant in a different circumstance a year from now.
Right.
So yeah, and you know what I mean? Like you do more in creating info products. Well, if you created an info product for the coronavirus, again, it's going to be over in 3 months, or hopefully next week. But anyway,
what I did instead is my product actually hasn't changed. Yeah. I just created a specific offer for this current time.
Okay, cool. So great interview. Thanks for the feedback. So Nazim, great guy over there in Italy. So Gina, right now there's a lot of people who are watching, and they are thinking about what they should be doing. All right. What they're going through. If you were to give personal advice to people, aside from what we were just talking about, creating the content, what's your advice to people right now who may be watching our show, who are content creators?
If your business is disrupted and you have some time on your hands, like if you're someone who speaks at events, if you're somebody who has, your own live events and those couldn't happen, take that time, that disruption, to create something new, or to create marketing around what you already do. There's something that you can be doing instead of just wallowing in having your business disrupted.
Yeah. So
I'm going to tell you though, I've had my moments where I've, shouted at the sky. Yeah. But you can't spend all of your time that way.
Yeah. And you guys, I assume just like me, I mean, I'm taking this as a time to act in faith, right? And do things that I know to do, and keep working on the habits I know. are you guys doing, you know what I mean, podcasts and videos and blogs and stuff and everything related to bring in traffic right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know what I mean, with everything you're doing, I mean, did you create a challenge or up a game like I did? I created this weird, I'm going to do 100. I created this dumb idea. I'm going to do 100 interviews in 30 days. Have you guys taken on a challenge or something like that to set an example?
For myself personally, my goal was to create 10 new funnels, because there's there are products that I have to offer that I could offer in different ways, or that I haven't really offered very effectively because it's been auxiliary to something else. And so I actually created a list of all the things that I do. And I bought a bunch of new domains, and I made a list of all the new funnels that I need to build around offering those things. And I had a list of, I think the list came out to 30. And I can't create one funnel every single day for 30 days. That's because it usually takes.
That's intense. I was like, I can get a funnel done in a week.
Yeah.
But that's pushing it sometimes. I mean, because there's depending on how complex it is. So
I found the most awesome copywriting tool that is enabling me to build sales pages faster than I ever have before. I just started using it 2 days ago, and I've written things, and I'm like, I finished doing it, and then I like jump up and down and scream and yell, and then I read it to Andy because I'm so excited about what I just created. And so I've actually amped it up, and I'm making a lot of progress. But cool. Yes, I'm not taking this as a time to quit or to say, oh, well, I have to wait until things are better. This lull is a great time for me to crank out some work. And so I'm cranking out some new funnels.
Yeah. I created a funnel that is like, it has, it's like 98% of the people who go to the forum opt in. All right. And, of the people who opt in, it's like, 1 in 5 doesn't do the work.
Wow.
And I'm not giving away my secret until later at my event, because I'm going to share this, how quickly this worked. But it took me 10 years to figure out this idea. Most people are like, oh, share it to me. What I do may not work for you. And that's what, I mean, you've learned that in funnels. Just because I can share a concept with you, but you copy my idea word for word, it may not work for you.
Yeah.
So, well, you know, Gina, if people want to get a hold of you, what websites or something can we send them to where they can find you and find out more about what you offer?
Well, my speaker website is ginastgeorge.com, and you can contact me through that. But the place where I have the listing of my various programs, and currently it's incomplete, but I have a listing of a lot of the things that we offer on businessresultssystems.com. And there it'll link to the different programs that you can enroll in.
Cool.
Or you can just fill out an inquiry, because I do things for brick and mortar businesses.
Yeah. So, Gina, I like to wrap up my show with a game. I don't know if you heard about my game.
Oh no.
I learned this from Sammy Hagar, playing this or that at the end of my show. And I like Sammy doing it. I'm like, I'm cooler than Sammy Hagar, so I'm going to do it.
Okay.
So I have about 8 or 9 questions. They're this or that questions. Some of them may be a little closely related to you, probably because I know you. And some of them are just general because I want to know.
Okay.
So you just pick one, and hey, some of them we're going to enlighten on, some of them we won't. But I like to ask this one to start a lot because some people are into it and some aren't, and that is Star Wars or Star Trek?
Oh, Star Wars, for sure. Star
Wars.
Cool. In fact, I watched episode 9 while we've been home because I missed it in the theaters. So I am now complete.
Okay, I've watched them all, and I think I have them all on DVR to watch. But yeah, lately I actually downloaded both the Star Trek movies that are recent too as well. So this next one here, kind of be iffy. Beach or mountains?
Oh, I live in Florida. But I love the woods.
But you also have a place in Michigan.
Yeah, that's not mountainous though; it's wooded.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with beach because that is where I live.
Cool. This next one, just because I know you, and I'm sure that, you know what I mean, if your boyfriend were to answer, he would give me his, but, Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks?
Oh, Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts for sure, 100%.
And I threw my cup down. I actually went and got my coffee before. I threw my cup out. I didn't bring it upstairs. I was going to show you.
Although I'm always happy to drink Starbucks with my good friend, Tim Gillette.
Yeah, that is one thing. When she is here, she's in Fort Worth. We were at a mastermind, and sure enough, every morning we got up and we went over and literally we just sit and drink coffee. It's just anyway. But when we're in Florida, I've gone to Dunkin' Donuts with you guys. The same thing. I'll take the fellowship time over which coffee shop it is. Yeah.
But as you recall, the Dunkin' Donuts is directly next to the Starbucks.
Next to the Starbucks, so it's like. Andy goes through drive-through to get his Dunkin' Donuts, and then he takes me through the drive-through at Starbucks to get mine. I got to love you guys for that.
Yeah.
So this is one of my favorites to ask is, do you like tacos or hamburger?
If I had to pick one to eat for the rest of my life only, it would probably be tacos. Because you can do lots of different things with a taco.
Yeah, you can. It's more creative than I think. But anyway, beer or wine?
I like both. But if you made me choose only one for the rest of my life, wine.
Wine. Okay. Oh, I was going to change it and go Jack Daniels or Jim Beam, but hey, it's just my preferences. Would you rather listen to a podcast or read a book?
I'm old school. I like to read.
Do you? Yeah, there's a lot of people who still like to read, but even though podcasts have become, and even audiobooks, like I've started listening to a couple audiobooks, I've noticed that there's sometimes I just want to sit and read through something,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyway, I know this one, but I'm going to ask because I know you and Andy have both. Dog or cat?
I actually don't have a dog anymore. We lost our dog last year. So right now I only have cats. But if you told me I could only have one.
No, this isn't only got one. It's just what do you choose best, Gina? You know what I mean?
Oh, that's such an unfair question. I love them both. I will have a dog again one day.
Okay.
But if I had to pick one, it'd have to be cats.
Yeah. My last two here, this one here is one that can create wars. All right. If you have it right now, some people are still fighting to find it. If you had to choose, which way does the toilet paper go, under or over?
Over.
I actually had a girl on last week from New Hampshire, and I think it was almost 2 weeks ago now. And she said, listen, if I start dating a guy and I have to change it after the third time I have to change his toilet paper, I'm breaking up with him. He's not for me. And my last one, boxers or briefs? Andy's taking notes. He wants to know.
I'm going to have to go with boxers. And if you watched my video on how to make a mask out of boxer shorts, did you see that?
I didn't see it yet, but
that was one of my coronavirus specials. That if you have the stretchy boxers, then you can actually make a mask out of the underpants.
I'm not making masks out of my underpants. Sorry. Anyway,
I found a pair that had never been worn.
Yeah. So one more time, let everybody know your websites, so those people even on the audio version can make sure they hear it. So
it's businessresultssystems.com.
Okay.
So plural results.
Yep. And if they want to hire you to speak, it's the other one is
GinaSt.George.com.
GinaSt.George.com. I was trying to get to the button to get it there. Well, Gina St. George, I appreciate you being on the show today. It has been fun. It has been interesting. And as always, all right, love to be on your show and love to get Andy on my show.
Andy would be a fun guest as well.
Of course. It would have been fun if you did the two of you on my show, because I really could have had fun, because we could go on for hours telling stories from the few times just we've hung out in person.
Yes.
Anyway, so thanks for being on the show today. Guys, this is another episode of the Tim Gillette Show. Again, we thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe. We're both on Anchor FM, iTunes, and YouTube right now. Go find us, subscribe, and share this out with your friends. And I appreciate you coming in on every episode we do. I'm Tim Gillette with the Tim Gillette Show, and we'll see you next time. Bye.